I'm Joel Escoda, Chairman of the Automotive Marketing Department of Northwood University in Midland, Michigan. The purpose of this video is to take you through a step-by-step process of purchasing a used vehicle. Now, I'll cover several steps, including beginning your used car search, financing options, and your credit. What's a fair price to pay for a used vehicle? Don't get stuck with a lemon. How to make a thorough mechanical inspection, getting a warranty or buying as is, and finally, taking delivery. Well, I'm frequently asked, is buying a used car really smarter than buying a new car? Well, yes and no. It depends. It depends on you. For over 16 million individuals a year, having that new car smell and the assurance of a new car warranty is the only way to go. Yet at the same time, over 41 million individuals a year prefer to take advantage of the fact that on average, a typical new vehicle loses 15 to 30% of its value the moment it's driven off the new car lot, and yet still manages to run extremely well, way beyond 100,000 miles on the odometer. With over 800 different models of vehicles to choose from, where do you begin your search for a used vehicle that's just right for you? Well, of course, there are several considerations such as price, what can you afford to pay, what type of vehicle you're interested in, for example, 2 doors or 4 doors, car or truck, 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. Now don't forget, you also have to consider something I like to call cost. There's price, that's what you pay for the vehicle, and then there's cost. That's what you'll pay to drive it every day, every month, and every year. Remember, it's no fun having an awesome-looking vehicle only to have it sit in front of the house because you can't afford the insurance on it or the gasoline to operate it. There are several sources to look for your dream used car, such as the classified section of your daily newspaper. In the used car business, we call them liners, or those free newspaper circulars that can usually be found at the front door of supermarkets and some restaurants, typically referred to as rags because of the type of paper they're printed on. And of course, you have the entire country right at your fingertips through the World Wide Web. Now, you can begin your search easily enough online by simply Googling used cars and let the search begin. Your journey on the internet will take you to the front door of private owners and franchise dealers like Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, and Mazda, and of course many others, as well as independent used vehicle dealers who specialize only in the sale of used vehicles. Now, we'll look at each of these in a little more detail later on. But first, let's talk a little bit more about selecting the right vehicle for you. Not every vehicle manufactured out there has a great reputation for reliability, for safety, or mechanicability. So it's essential that you do your homework before you lay your hard-earned money down on the table. It's hardly unlikely there's a vehicle or ever will be a vehicle that's ever built truly perfect in every way. And unfortunately, there are some models that have had more than their share of recalls by a particular manufacturer. A recall, by the way, is when a manufacturer recognizes that one of their model cars has a serious flaw and they're recalling it back to the factory or actually back to the dealership to correct the problem. And while some recalls can be as minor as replacing a screw in the dashboard, others can be a bit more serious, such as maybe an engine stalling out when you're driving after just a few hours. Now, you're going to want to know about all of these before you say, I'll take it. Just click autolemon.com to see if the vehicle you're considering purchasing has had any recalls. It's free. Remember, you have to pay to drive. Can you afford the gas? Now, you may want to check out fueleconomy.gov to check fuel ratings on your potential purchase. Oh, and don't forget about insurance. Insurance requirements will vary from state to state, so you have to check with your state to see exactly what's required. But this is the one item you won't want to cut corners on. In all cases, you'll be required to carry liability insurance, which will protect you when an accident is your fault and you have to pay for damages to someone else's property. Many young people make the mistake of only carrying their state's minimum required amount of liability insurance, when in fact their liability could end up costing far more than right after that serious accident. So don't chintz out on that. Some states may also require you to carry medical coverage, just in case you or any of your passengers need medical assistance in an accident. Now be sure to check with your insurance agent. And finally, there's collision and comprehensive coverage, which covers damage done to your vehicle from an accident or other cause. Depending on the total value of the used car you choose, this may not be a very cost-effective coverage, so be sure to discuss this thoroughly with your insurance agent. Now, you have to keep in mind, in many cases, the amount of insurance you end up paying each month will depend on the type of vehicle you end up purchasing. For example, the insurance premium on a four-wheel drive truck can be much higher than that of a two-wheel drive truck. You might want to call your family's insurance agent and discuss your vehicle choice with them well before your final purchase decision. Now, I don't want to leave out the issue of mechanicability. Unless you're going to be doing your own service work on your newly purchased used car, and by the way, it's no simple task to do your own repairs these days when you consider there are over 13 different onboard computer systems on today's model cars. You'll want to select a vehicle you can afford to maintain. For example, a BMW might cost you quite a bit more to maintain than a standard GM model car or truck. And finally, there's the topic of resale value. Now, this may or may not be an issue for many used car buyers, but it's important to others. Some vehicles hold their value better or longer than others. Now, this will have an impact on you and your wallet should you decide to trade your used car purchase in at a later date for a newer used car 3 or 4 years down the road. The higher the resale value, the less you'll pay in monthly payments on your next vehicle, in case you want to use your used car as a trade-in somewhere down the road. Now, for example, that BMW might have higher maintenance costs than a typical GM car, but it could have a higher resale value than a GM vehicle, although this may not always be the case. So by now, I'm hopeful I've convinced you that you really must do your homework before heading out the door with your hard-earned money in your hand to buy that used car you've always dreamed about.